This is Koto village, notably known as the land that flows with milk and honey. Arara, from the Ankole cattle, a rare breed of long-horned cattle that produce milk that is as sweet as honey. Everyone in Koto village takes pride in rearing the Ankole cows. Having this breed of cows in your home, especially in large numbers, is a symbol of prosperity, wealth, and prestige. All the young men in the village took earnest care of their cows, except for one, Katoto, the lazy herdsman. Katoto had always been of small stature since childhood, hence his name. He was a kid who loved to eat food, and as he grew older, his love for food increased even more. But despite all this, he never grew the weight to show for it. So his mother kept on feeding him different types of food in hopes that he would gain weight, but all this never worked. As Katoto grew older, so did his appetite for food, and over the years, he participated in many food eating competitions, winning all of them. No one could defeat Katoto when it came to such competitions. If eating was a job, then Katoto had mastered his craft. But that was that. See, Katoto never liked to work. He preferred living a leisurely life, winning any food competitions he could find in the village, or any other villages for that matter, so long as it didn't involve him working. He never bothered to learn any other kind of work, or any skills for that matter. Not herding, business, carpentry, or farming, which were the most common jobs for the young men in the village. So long as his belly was full, everything else could wait. Cho, this grieved his father so much to the point that he even considered disowning him. But this was his one and only son, and he couldn't do that. So he prayed every day that his child would change and see the better things in life other than competitions. Who could blame him though? But soon his cows became the worst looking in the entire village. They were so thin and undernourished that no one wanted to buy them or even slaughter them for meat. Fearing for the worst, Katoto's father took a more drastic step. He divided his herd and gave Katoto his own share, but still nothing changed in him.
Reba usinje, reba magara, haha.
Katoto sang and danced in jubilation over his freedom from all the troublesome chores he was made and forced to do.
Let me sell all these cows at the village auction and then marry the most beautiful girl in the entire village. You wait and see.
Katoto was in love with the most beautiful girl in the entire village. Her name was Kenshuro, and she was every young man's dream. She was beautiful and she came from a good, wealthy family. But she had on several occasions rejected all Katoto's marriage proposals, leaving the poor man devastated. He tried moving on by proposing to other girls in the village, but they all rejected his proposals. Who could blame them though? None of the girls in the village wanted to get married to a man who is so lazy and only cares about his belly. Now every year in Koto village, a traditional auction market always took place where the young herdsmen across the county would show off, trade, buy and sell the best looking cows across the county. But the main attraction of the auction was of the young men in the entire county showing off their herdsman skills by presenting the best looking cow they have of their herd to a girl they intended to marry. If she accepted the cow, they would be engaged and married soon. Trouble came when she rejected the cow. It would mean that it was lacking in one way or another, thus undermining the young herdsman's skills. If this happened, it would be simply shameful. Bambi, but this is the tradition in the village and the entire region. The young, well-endowed girls would pick their potential husbands basing on their family status, especially the number of cows and how fat they are. For this is the basis on which wealth is determined in the entire region. So the higher the number of cows and the fatter they are would equal to a high bride price, which every girl and their entire family always preferred. Every year, Katoto would always bring his undernourished herd to the auction and propose to the girls, but was rejected each and every time. He was constantly mocked and ridiculed by the girls, but he never felt the need to change his lifestyle to attract the girls. But with each and every year that passed by, his dreams of finding a well-endowed wife seemed to fade away with each defeat. This year, however, was his last hope, as he had practically proposed to almost all the girls, not only in his village, but the entire region, all to no avail. But this hope too was crushed even more this year. As he walked back home, it finally dawned on him that he would remain a bachelor his entire life.
Wherever I turn, I see all my friends are happily married. Is it bad for a man to want to have a wife? What is so bad that I have done that is preventing me from getting a wife? Banagi, what did I do wrong? I come from a good family too.
Aibambe! Everyone laughed at him as he left the auction that day. He couldn't believe that his life was a mess. That night he couldn't even sleep. He wondered what he had done so wrong for all the girls in the village to hate him so much and mock him every day. Feeling disgraced and hopeless, Katoto decided to leave the village and live permanently as a wanderer, surviving by his craft, winning food competitions. But soon would find out that this too wasn't sustainable. He roamed across many villages and would soon find himself in the city of Mbarara. Once a carefree man, Katoto had wandered far from the comforts of his village to the bustling streets of Mbarara city. Towering skyscrapers and bustling crowds overwhelmed him, a stark contrast to the simplicity of his former life. In his village, he was celebrated for his prowess in food competitions, but beyond that, he possessed no life skills to navigate the challenges of urban life, let alone life in general. Desperate to survive, he tried his hand at various jobs, from toiling at construction sites for days under the scorching sun, to peddling bottled water amidst the chaotic traffic. He faced defeat at every turn. Even attempts at welding and shopkeeping proved futile, as his incompetence and rough demeanor alienated both potential customers and employers alike. Rejected and delusioned, he found himself reflecting on his past, realizing that his single-minded pursuit of food glory had left him ill-equipped for the real world. Child, with a heavy heart, he resolved to return home and seek redemption and forgiveness from his father for squandering all his opportunities. As he embarked on the journey back to his village, he carried with him a newfound sense of humility and determination to make amends for his wasted years. Katoto's father was slow to forgive him, as at this point he had practically disowned Katoto. But Katoto was relentless. He kept on begging his father to forgive him and that he had learnt his lesson. So his father gave him another chance and told him that if he squanders it again, it will be over between the two of them. He gave Katoto a piece of land on top of a hill and told him to start from there. He also gave him an ultimatum of 1 year that if things went sideways, Katoto would lose everything. Katoto felt relieved and grateful for this opportunity from his father. So he started by building a small hut on the hill. Gradually, he started growing some crops and his cattle grazed on the hill. The perfect life, he thought, but his heart was still heavy with longing for a companion. So to clear his mind, Katoto would often take a walk in the nearby forest, coming back home with some fruits and nuts he had picked from the forest. Until one day, when he was out and about in the forest, he was met with a peculiar figure. He couldn't quite figure out what it was, so he moved closer. And on further inspection, he found that it was a woman hiding behind a tree. He politely asked her to come out from behind the tree and not be afraid, for he meant no harm. Still scared, the lady reluctantly stepped out from behind the tree. But as she was walking towards him, she suddenly slipped and fell right on top of him. Cho, it was an odd encounter, but for Katoto, it was love at first sight. He was captivated by her beauty, especially her eyes. Realizing she was on top of him, the young lady blushingly got up and helped him up as well. Blushingly, they exchanged pleasantries. The lady was named Nancha, and she was an outcast, just like Katoto. She was rejected by many men in her village because of her size, so she left and started living in the forest. Here she lived a very simple life. She would venture out every morning into the forest and gather some fruits and nuts for herself. She also had a small garden and a very small hut where she lived in the forest. As the two kept on talking, they soon realized that they had a lot in common. They were both rejected by their society and were looking for love and companionship. It didn't take them long to fall deeply in love with each other, and soon they got married in a simple ceremony. Katoto built a bigger hut to accommodate both he and his wife. And for the first time in his life, Katoto felt truly happy. He had found his soulmate in a place he least expected, and now he was more empowered to live a better life than he had before. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Murabeho.